Que lo que Knicks fans, man. Off season work. You already know the vibes. Triple M in the building. Episode 63. I got the fellas. We kicking it. Summer barbecue vibes. I got my boy Donte DiVincenzo out here in Washington Heights with me. My boy just chilling right now with my guys. Does you feel me? Yo, I'm gonna kick it to Don Juan, bro. Tell the people it's really good, bro. It's been a crazy, crazy last couple days in Knicks land.
Yeah, man. I mean, trying to keep up with all these Knicks news has been wild. But it comes in waves. It comes in waves. It gets a little quiet, then it comes in bunches. But that's what the offseason is about. We in the dog days right now. It's gonna be dragging and whatnot. But a Triple M said we back here. It's been a couple weeks. And sometimes we need to take a little break to get this much to talk about because
Hey,
we're not
yeah.
gonna sit here and talk for 5 minutes. We could do that too. We ain't gonna do that to y'all, man. But nonetheless, it's Don Juan in the building. Feels good to be back with the guys. And of course, we talking next, man. So how y'all feeling tonight, man?
Yeah, Omar, I want to see how you feeling right now. Omar got he always got the 5K HD video. Yo, bro, I need to get your HD camera. I know you sent it to me. I got to look at it again. I'm hating.
Holler at that shit. No, I'm good, man. Always love to be here with you guys, man. Leon Rose woke up, so we got to talk about it, right? I know that was Triple M's big thing.
Yeah,
Leon Rose asleep at the wheel during free agency, right? But it's always something going on with Knicks land, Knicks fans, and the NBA. So, happy to talk with you guys about it.
yeah, man. I feel like every time I like really enjoy something and I find it very funny, like Nick Sland kills it for me. Like I'm tired of seeing the Leon Rose sleeping picture. She just always all day. It's ruined. I don't even find it funny no more. I used to like every one of them. I don't even like the post no more. Keep scrolling. It's just crazy how they just ruin these things for me sometimes. But we got my boy Zebo in the building. Zebo just ran a 5K right here. He's warming up for the season.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah, nah, I feel good, man. Now it started. Listen, man, the off season starting to warm up, man. With all this, all the rumors coming up, man, with all the big stars. So, yeah, man, this is, it's starting to warm up, literally and figuratively in the city, man. Look, and you bugging here with a long sleeve, man, bro. You gonna have to take off that jacket because it's starting to make me hot right now. So,
I live very in a nice place where I got the central air just blowing right now. Paul, just doing this thing over here. So I'm kind of cool right now. So I can't be like you. There's always a full moon in your crib. You feel me in the background. I can't feel like you right now. Zebo always living good with the full moon in the back. But fella, Zebo said
uh,
it's warming up or it's cooling down. You never know with Leon Rose. He just can give you a little bit and they'll just shut it off. It's just very by the team. But they did pull a move. Obi Toppin, our boy Obi Toppin, got traded to the Indiana Pacers for 2 second-round picks. So we Obi was a fan favorite. I know I got some Randall stands with me, so I'm interested on what they got to say. But I got to start with my boy Don Juan. How do you feel about Obi being traded for 2 second rounders?
Well, for starters, man, it's sad to see him go. Like you mentioned, Triple M. At the end of the day, like this is a guy that was eighth pick overall. I feel like a lot of fans, especially after a season where we play bad, that's the reward we get. Is a guy that National Player of the Year, you know, was talked a lot throughout that draft. I mean, he fell to us in most drafts. Most mocks, he was going fifth, sixth. So to land to us at eight was a value play. Now then you mentioned he's from New York, so it's like, oh, he's a hometown kid. Like it was just arms. It was just waiting for him to come in. And then on top of then we got to mention the fact that a lot of fans also disliked Randall. So everybody was just seeing this guy as Randall's replacement. But unfortunately, that's not how the NBA is. Things don't play according to a lot of our expectations. And we saw the Randall glow up. Randall from All NBA, All Star. Then he gets his contract. From then, I felt like that was either a slap in the face to Obi and a slap into the face to the fans that thought Obi was going to be that guy. You know, and I think the Knicks just decided on who to pick, and ultimately they found the star in Randall, and this is who they're going to build around. And then Randall's glow up. Then there's Tibbs. Tibbs' coaching style. He's stubborn with his minute distribution. He's stubborn with his rotations. There was many times that with his 9-man rotation, we also down a player. So Tibbs is really sticking to this 8-man rotation and also sticking to his starters. He wasn't even trying to give extended minutes to OB, and which also means that you're lacking creativity. And Tibbs also was doing that. Like I feel like there was many of times that he he could have gotten some minutes at small ball as a small ball center, or Randall playing the small ball center, him playing the four. Like there was definitely a lot of moments that us as the fans we saw that he could have gotten some minutes and developed more of his game. But unfortunately, that's nothing that's promised in this league, and that's how the dice is fell. That's how the dice is rolled. Realistically, look at where he ends up now on a team like the Pacers that I felt like it was almost the perfect situation for him. And I'm actually excited for him for this new opportunity. But it does suck that, all we got was 2 second-round picks. I know previous episodes, all I was saying was like, yeah, if you're going to package Obi with, whatever big move we get, and the fact that we're getting 2 second-rounders, that let's say if we do make a big move, it'll sound too sweet when you're just talking about, oh yeah, 2 second-rounders in a big play for a superstar. Like, it wasn't so enticing to me. I felt like we lost the trade, and then today, seeing that Chris Duarte goes for 2 second-rounders, seeing that Grant Williams went for 2 second-rounders, it puts a little more perspective and context within how people are getting valued. Ultimately, Obi, 25 years old, he's still a bit raw. What are we gonna get? We're gonna wait till restricted free agency, let him walk for nothing, or go through a whole year of the same drama. I think is a fair value for what we got, and honestly, it's fair value for what we got, and a nice opportunity for Obi to succeed.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with the situation.
Yeah, you don't feel bad because you've been traded Obi for Chris Duarte weeks ago. Don Juan already like,
Yeah,
cooked
you're
up
in line. You're in line.
in Indiana. But before I go to the Randall stands, let me give my 2 cents. Look, this Obi situation was it was a black eye on the Knicks. I mean, you can't deny that. It was a black eye on the Knicks because okay, granted, I'm gonna give you the fact that Randall was supposed to get traded during the COVID year. I mean, that's why they drafted Obi, correct? But then once Randall has this blow up and this amazing season, and the Knicks decided to extend him. Right there, knowing you, Don Juan just mentioned it, knowing Tibbs, knowing how he treated Obi even in that first season, it was like, he's a rookie or whatever, he was learning the game, but I feel like that was where his value was at his highest, and that's when I feel like the Knicks should have attacked and traded Obi possibly, because now trading him for 2 second rounders is just like. Second of all, this is another point I wanted to make about the Obi situation. The Knicks didn't have to trade Obi right now. They didn't. They could have ran it back technically with Obi. I know they wanted DiVincenzo, but they could have kept Obi. But again, it's just the politics. I feel like Leon Rose doing a favor for his son, Sam Rose. Giving Obi an opportunity to play and to get that money. So as Juan said, I'm hyped for Obi. Particularly, I'm very hyped for Obi because I want to see how he could do in extended minutes. I'm not gonna be like a lot of people in Nick's Twitter specifically that's like, oh, Obi's trash. I don't really think Obi's trash. I think he could give you a few. I mean, we saw it when he did a spot starts. He really excelled. So I'm not gonna really bash Obi as he gets out of here. But it is what it is, man. It's not. I'm not sitting here crying that we traded Obi. I kind of been packaged in with Don Juan for Duarte in the 29th pick. Like I was already ready for that move. But Knicks weren't interested in Duarte. They got their other guard in DiVincenzo that they really like, and we're gonna talk about it. But as far as Obi, it's a bad look on the Knicks. It's a bad look on the Knicks, and you just got to close it. You just got to close that chapter and move on for the Knicks. But Omar, I want to go with you. You're a known Randall stance. I know you don't got remorse already. Zebo already had the trade Obi like during the season. He was bringing the banners to the Garden, but
so I want to start with the Obi specific side of this trade, right? Obi, if you really think about it, going back to his years at Dayton, he had just really bad luck because he started off, he's not a one and done guy, right? He had to, work his way into being that National Player of the Year. So he finally gets there. Dayton's about to be like a 1, 2, or 3 season tournament. COVID happens. You don't have a tournament. Okay. Then you're supposed to be drafted by the Cavs. That was where everybody was mocking him. And then you end up slipping and you go into the Knicks and you think, oh, hometown kids, good story. Then Randall has a breakout season and they extend him. Then you become like you're supposed to be like an Amari Stoudemire type profile, a slashing, high flying power forward, and they're trying to turn you into Sean Marion, right? Just park you in the corner, shoot the corner three, which he did good at, by the way, eventually. So good on him for that. And the fact that he's a little older already, there's only like a 3-year age gap between him and Randall. So the team already just said to you, yeah, we're not going to get rid of our 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star player in 4 years. No team would do that realistically, regardless of the player. And they're looking at him. His contract's coming up. They were going to have him make a tough decision between him and IQ. Obviously, they're going to re-sign IQ. He's the one who showed himself to get more minutes, be more effective in his role. So, you ship him off to Indiana, and guess what? He gets to be probably the leading candidate for a starting 4. I know they just drafted Walker in the draft. And you get to catch lobs from Tyrese Halliburton, and he's going to have a chance to get decent money on his next deal. Do I think he's an all-star player? No, I don't. I think Obi Toppin's a serviceable rotation power forward in the league. And ultimately, he landed in the perfect spot for that purpose. Now, with the Knicks, I was saying they should have got rid of him last year because as soon as Randall had his breaking out and you didn't trade him after his bad season, you're committed to this guy already. So Obi's already capped at 20 minutes a game. And it's not like he's a 19-year-old who could kind of grow into a role. And to your point, Don Juan, it's not like Tibbs was going to play either him or Randall as a 5. So the opportunity was limited. So I think they're trying to do right by the asset, by the player that they liked, and they, enjoyed his personality and everything. He's a great personality. You ever hear Obi do an interview? He just seems like a great guy, right? And yeah, I think did they maybe fumble the bag a little bit on packaging? Yeah, sure, you could argue that. Now, when to Don Juan's point about Grant Williams netting 2 seconds, can you make the argument that they're kind of the same level of player? I would say so, as of right now. You could say Obi projects to be better long term, but yeah, I think. Honestly, I was kind of surprised they got 2 seconds because his value is so low because of how little he played and how not so impactful his role was. Nothing against the player. It's the circumstance, more than anything. And, I wish him nothing but the best, even though, like, me and Zebo are both big Randall fans. I'm not going to say, oh, fuck this dude, he's trash. Well, he's not trash. He's a good NBA player. He's a good NBA player who's going to have a chance to get 20 and 10 on a young developing team. And Indiana that's a fun watch, man. They're going to be a good league pass team between Halliburton and Mathurin and Toppin and Miles Turner. I mean, that's a fun team, right? And now he has a spacing big, so he has that full lane to operate. It's not congested with Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. And I think it's a great move for him. So I hope to see him do good things in Indiana. And, Knicks move on, and they got to figure out what they're going to do with the backup 4 spot, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, man, you made a lot of valid points there, and a great job in separating the player and the team. You're right. We want to see what Obi could do. And a spacing 5, I didn't even think about that, man. It's gonna, Halliburton already said he's gonna throw it up, and Obi's gonna be up there. So I can't wait to see it. And shout out to Obi. But we got the last Randall standing, the Zebo right here. One of the last few remaining Randall stands. 2 are in the show. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Listen, before you guys actually spoke, I'll be honest. I was just gonna come here and say, Obi, thank you for the in-between dunks, the 2 air balls you would give me per game, and the few corner threes you would give me per game. But I'll be honest, the one thing I will push back a little bit to you, Omar, is the fact that I think honestly he was a pretty key piece on, for that Knicks bench, which actually made us one of the most productive benches in the league. So I will go ahead and give him that. We did see the improvement from 3, which is something that we didn't necessarily expect from him. And I mean, listen, bro, he tried. He tried. He obviously wasn't going to take the big dog spot. It just wasn't going to happen. But I mean, he tried to do everything he can with the 10, 15 minutes we were giving him per game. And so I honestly do wish him the best. I think he's gonna be I think he's in a great situation right now with Halliburton. And with with the young guys that are gonna be around him, they obviously gonna be running. And so that's literally his game, to slash, run, and go ahead and catch lobs. So yeah, I mean, I hope the best for him. I mean, I do agree with you as far as the trade package. I was a little bit disappointed because of the fact that, listen, he was a key part in our bench. Even with just giving us 10, 15 minutes, I thought he was pretty productive in those 10, 15 minutes, to the point where teams would actually see that. And so, but then obviously then we got the 2 second-round picks, which, looking at it in context of the other players that got traded for those second-round picks, I'm like, all right. I mean, it is what it is. So, yo, listen, shout out to Obi. I hope it goes well for him. Are we gonna regret it? No, like I don't see it.
Oh,
Like I don't see this. I don't see him being. I don't see him being. I'll be honest, bro. I don't see him being like an all-star type of player where we're gonna go ahead and look back at this and just be like, damn, like we wish. I honestly feel like if Tibbs, again, we go ahead and we criticize Tibbs, man. But honestly, I think if Tibbs really, like, if he really would have brought something, I think Tibbs would have actually seen it. And I don't think we saw, like, I just didn't see. I just really didn't see it that way. So yeah, man. Shout out to him. Hopefully he does well, but we're not gonna regret this long term.
well, in Zebo's words, thank you, Obi, and next, because that Zebo
Literally,
move on
literally.
to the next topic because we're not gonna miss Obi. Yeah, I don't know. Some people be saying Omar just said it. He could see Obi doing 20 and 10. I'm not sure if I see that. I could see like a
Nah, I don't
That's
see
the
that.
ceiling, right? Like that's your ceiling, like big
yeah,
stats on a mediocre team, right?
yeah,
But
maybe. But I think the Pacers
realistically,
might be good. I think the Pacers might be sneaky good next
right.
year, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Who knows what they're going to be, right? They have a lot of new pieces now, and I ultimately think like he's probably going to be somewhere in the middle, but his peak is like 18 to 20 points a game, and
Yeah,
maybe he gets there. But a lot of mouths to feed in Indiana as well with Matherin and Miles Turner, and
There's still Buddy Hield on that team too.
uh,
That he needs the shots.
Yeah. Actually, the more I think about it, I can actually see him being like a Kenneth Faried type of player where, but just with a better jump shot, honestly.
with the
Just
jump
with
shot.
just a better with a better jump
Zebo's
shot. So
ready to move on from Obi. Just compared him to Kenneth. Come on, that's Obi.
he's solid. Nah, come on. He was
Bro,
solid. He was solid. He was pretty solid.
He was not
He
even a
was very.
shooter at all. I don't even think he shot.
No
Well,
jump
But
one
shot.
he
thing I
was.
will
But
say
he.
is that we lose a top and we get another topping.
Yeah, there you go.
We got Jacob Toppin
Shout
on
out
the
to
squad
Jacob.
now,
Shout out to Sam
undrafted.
Rose, man. He getting his clients paid with his pops. He's like, yo,
Hey,
pop, you got to sign this, man. Nobody's giving him
that's the
no
name of the
time.
business.
Yeah,
That's the name of the business. Get paid, man.
Literally.
yeah, for sure. But let's talk about this next topic right here, the backup four. Obi left a void at the backup four. So I'm interested in Omar, what you got to think about. What should the Knicks do at the backup four? A report came out from Hoop Heights today. Said the Knicks might give Isaiah Roby a shot at the four right now. So I'm interested. They talking about small ball, Isaiah Roby. So I want to see what you think the Knicks should do.
So when the trade first happened, I thought to myself, because obviously the Knicks hadn't really made any signings at that point either. So I was just like, okay, well, you're probably going to have Josh Hart, small ball four. You probably throw in RJ in those type of situations as well. And I was like, oh, that seems really forward thinking by Tibbs. But then you see another report. It's like, oh, there might be situations where he has Jericho Sims at the four. And I was like,
God.
okay. And I was like, I don't mind Roby. I watched a little bit of him in Oklahoma City, not a ton. I just feel like they need to just try and find somebody on the low, like somebody halfway decent. I know somebody on Twitter was talking about JaMychal Green for a minute, and I wouldn't be opposed. I mean, I just feel like over the course of 82 game season, having too many minutes for Hart and Barrett at the four is going to deteriorate them come playoff time. And I was hoping that maybe they kind of went after some sort of four in the undrafted rookie thing, or even trying to trade back into the second round to get somebody. But the way it's shaping like it's going to be Hart and Barrett kind of mixing up the duties there, I don't think Roby's going to be in the rotation. To answer your question, Triple M, he feels like a break glass in case of emergency type of player to me, like their 11th guy. But yeah, I think they should be in the market for some sort of veteran four guy who could play those 15 minutes from like a PJ Tucker type, right? Who's going to be able to, hit that corner three with proficiency and doesn't need a million minutes, because that was the issue with Obi, right? Because he's a young guy in the league. He wants to get his minutes. So that's kind of the route I'm thinking, because while I like the idea of an occasional RJ at the four mismatch situation, and Hart has shown he could guard four men pretty well in spurts, I still don't think it's sustainable for a full season and into a playoff.
Yeah, it is what it is, because then you put a lot of pressure on Randall now. Randall, you're really depending him on playing 36 to 40 minutes a game, probably, because you don't want to take his size and length out there from the four position. Excuse me. So Randall, especially coming off surgery, I wonder. I don't want to put that much pressure on him, but let's see what they do. What do you think, Zebo? What do you think the Knicks should do right there at the backup four?
Yeah, no, I think they should take the approach of, I agree with Omar. I think they should make it an open competition. I think they should sign guys, find guys either for the vet minimum or find guys right now looking for work, getting power forwards, similar to JaMychal Green. I know Jeff Green just got signed, but something similar to that, a older player that can give you those productive 10, 15 minutes. Because Isaiah Ruby, I don't see it, but I think they should just try to. I think they should just try to make it an open competition. Because no, you're absolutely right, bro. I mean, we talk about Julius Randle. I mean, the one thing is that I feel like him. He led the league in minutes, and so if we can try to alleviate that with someone that can get us a productive 15 minutes, that would be good. So I expect them to just do an open competition for that. For that power forward spot.
Yeah, yeah, great point, great point. Before I kick it to you, Don Juan, let me just give my thought out here. Shout out to Isaiah Roby. 2 years ago he helped me win fantasy at the end of the season. He put some big stats with OKC. He had a 30-pointer. He was going crazy. But listen, he's gotten weighed by two teams that are rebuilding and are in talent acquisition in OKC and San Antonio. That's a red flag, right?
That's a red flag. Yeah.
Roby, he's gonna be a cheerleader, clapping it up on the bench. I don't. If we see him play a significant minute, it's a problem, because you think about the Knicks. They just won 47 games, man. They're just not trying to throw out Isaiah Roby as their backup forward. No offense to Isaiah. But, another point I wanted to make is that while you guys talk about signing maybe a veteran, I just don't see it, because then that requires Tips to go to a 10-man rotation. They signed Donte already. So I looked up this stat with Omar earlier. The Knicks were 11-13 when he was going to his 10-man rotation. He went to his 9-man and it was 46-32. So no way Tips goes back to that 10-man rotation. And also, you talk about they picked up Donte. There's just not enough minutes, because Donte has to play as well. So in an event that Randall gets hurt, I think I saw this lineup thrown around, and it was like, but I think it will happen. They'll throw Sims out there. They'll throw like a little Mitch and Sims. I think we saw that for a little while.
We did see it a little bit last week.
We saw a Hart too playing with.
Yeah, we saw Hart and Sims. So I think the Knicks, they keep it in house, but that just brings me, like, it's just the team doesn't feel complete yet. Like, you see all these question marks, and you just be like, I don't know. They just won 47 games. Like, do they run it back like this? Like, you could see it. Yeah, you could talk yourself into it. But when you really think about it, it's like, and there was reports that said this earlier, it just feels like there's something else brewing that we just don't know about. But, we'll react to that when it happens. But it just feels like that, because you think about it. Are they really going to throw out RJ, whose biggest strength sometimes is like his strength? Now you're going to put him at the 4. He's going to lose that battle with the strength. Or Josh Hart, he plays big, but he's really like 6'5", You put a guy Bobby Portis. I mean, Bobby Portis is just way bigger. So you think about those matchups where you might see Sims there. But Don Juan, I want to get your thoughts here as we talk about the backup four position left by Hobie.
So I mean, I'm seeing it almost spit image of what you see in Triple M. You know how it's unfolding. You know, it's essentially 12, 15 minutes that we're talking about here. It's gonna be at least according to how we see how you know Isaiah Roby and we see Tibbs with the young guys. He's not gonna play. He's not gonna gamble. He's gonna stick with his best players every time. So essentially, he's gonna go with RJ and Hart. It's gonna be split between them. They'll be back and forth on the nights where, you know, it is a Bobby Portis. I do see Tibbs, you know, adjusting. You know, it's a little rare. It's a little rare. I know we don't see him adjusting much, but I feel like in those nights, because that's not every night though. You know what I mean? Like if we could sit here and just try to pull every backup power forward, realistically, there isn't so many that are on Bobby Portis level. He's really the exception
Yeah,
to that. And you know, and if Tibbs is gonna stick to his 9-man rotation, I mean that means one of the guards is gonna have to lose out on some minutes or lose out on their role. So realistically, I think they're really gonna go with this small ball. Essentially, Obi was playing small ball. Like he was just pitched in a corner the whole time. So when you put into perspective and say, well, it's gonna be Donte now in the corner instead of Obi, talking about a 40-some% shooter with a low 30 from three. Now that the dynamic it changes completely because now that player has to be guarded, and RJ and Hart are gonna have the lanes just to crash the whole time. So I could I mean I'm talking to myself and I'm talking to y'all. Hope maybe I'll convince some people out there too, but I'm kind of rolling with this, especially because of how we played in that second half of the season. I mean, the team played great, and you know, I think we got to give these guys a chance. And all that, saying all that, I feel like you know, I do sense there's a big move soon coming soon, but I also think that whatever's available right now is not what the Knicks want. I
yeah,
think personally, I think they're just you know holding out rolling with the guys that they have now. They're gonna be forced to play this small ball, but they're literally waiting for either whether it's Philly, whether it's you know the T Wolves, whether it's maybe going back to Paul George and that you know they ultimately have a bad season. Like it's like there's so many bigger things to unfold that they're willing to roll with this because last year there was some confidence that you know this team is good with the structure that they have. Now you add a 3-point specialist defender. I mean Donte DiVincenzo as well as RJ and Hart. They play bigger than their size. You know these are
yeah,
guys that are good rebounders, high IQ players. They're gonna make that extra play or that smart play I should say, you know, that I do feel like it's sustainable. Maybe not for a whole season, because like I said, it has to be somewhere where Tibbs some nights is like, all right, these guys are too big. We got to throw the I heart at power forward at times, or play with two big men at times to give these guys a breather. But that's not going to be every night. And the times that that's going to happen, talking about you know, like a fifth, not even a fifth of the game, maybe a little even less. You know, it's just not. I feel like those minutes aren't so big that it's not gonna affect us maybe up until the playoffs. So I just don't think that those minutes are something to be going crazy for because most nights the backup power forward isn't good. So that's my 2 cents.
oh yeah. Then when you really think about it, we're just gonna have to bully teams down low. Because you think about it, if they throw a iHeart, Sims, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, and quickly off the bench, I mean that's just bad. That's bad shooting right there for the most part. And you're just gonna have to really bully teams with the rebounding and that. And the Knicks, I mean, that's how they beat Cleveland. It was a scrappy, low scoring '90s basketball type of
You
play.
know,
So
you know who's the key to that lineup? If you did that, Triple M is Hartenstein, and people aren't talking about that enough. His game, while he evolved himself to be more of that physical inside rebounder last year. He has some kind of connector aspect to his game. He's a good passer.
Really
So you
good
can kind
passer.
of run parts of the offense through him in spurts with the bench unit. I'm not saying he's Jokic, but he has a little bit of a finesse game to him that
Don
you can
Juan
utilize.
used that caption one time though. He called him Jokic. I remember that caption.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
so
he be,
He has
he be
those.
surprising us with some backdoor
Yeah,
passes.
he
He had
has
a
those
few full
qualities.
court passes as
he has
well.
that
Like,
skill set, right? So being able to kind of, when you have a DiVincenzo, when you have a Quickly, you have a Josh Hart who are going to be cutting and off ball screens and all that, you want somebody who can make those passes. So I'm curious, and this goes back to your thing, Don, about how Tibbs likes certain players to play. Are they going to allow him to do that, more of that type of stuff, right, within the confines of the offense?
Tibbs is he's the real component to that.
Right, exactly.
He's the real component to that. Because I agree with you 100%, bro. I think that iHeart, and there was like little rumors in the beginning when he was really struggling last year, where there was like, you're just not using this guy right. And as Omar mentioned, he really adapted. He did his thing,
Nah, yeah, we spoke about it the whole year.
and he really became an essential Knick this season, and this year too coming up, he's gonna have a big role. But you know who else is gonna have a big role, fellas? The Knicks new addition, the only new addition so far this season. One person so far, fellas. One person is my boy right here. Look at right here, my guy. Oh, that's my guy, Jalen Brunson. My fault.
There
My
you go.
guy,
Yeah.
DiVincenzo comes to New York. My boy signed a 4-year, $50 million contract to play for the NYK. And listen, very good player. Last year he played very well. Struggled in the playoffs, but he's gonna bring that off ball movement Omar mentioned earlier. The defense, he was I think top 15 in steals. Uh, he really can shoot it. 39% from the field, I believe, from three. So, that's a pretty good percentage. So I'm excited to see what my boy's gonna bring. So I want to get your guys' thought. Don Juan, what you thinking about our guy right here? What is he gonna bring to this team?
well, you mentioned a few of the needs that we have. 3-point shooting, decision making, perimeter defenders, high IQ players in general. Tips like those guys. But this is everything that Dante DiVincenzo. I gotta work on his name. This is what he brings though. Like, you mentioned he shot 39% from three, top 15 in steals. Like, these are things that, mind you, this is a guy that's coming off the bench at a limited role, and he's top 15 in steals. I mean, that says a lot about him. I've actually heard comparisons. I mean, I mentioned it a bit in terms of size and how playing bigger than who he is, but I compared him to Josh Hart. He's essentially almost like Josh Hart, but with a 3-point shot, like more efficient. And you know, we see these guys. He comes to a team um, with former players, guys that they were roommates in college, and Jalen Brunson. Like, the camaraderie is there. I feel like that was one of the biggest reasons why bringing on a guy like that is probably going to boost up everybody's morale. Good locker room guy, and maybe even these guys might hit even more shots, might be more efficient because they know their spots, they know where to place and put these guys to where they succeed and where they hit shots and where they feel comfortable. So I think that camaraderie is always good for the team chemistry. At the end of the day, too, Donte DiVincenzo is a winner. If I'm not mistaken, he already got a championship ring with the Milwaukee Bucks. He might have got hurt that year, but he still played a key role in that season nonetheless. And everywhere he's gone, he's always been spoken highly about. I know he played a bit for the Kings. Then on the Warriors, it was where he actually blew up and did his thing because the Kings, it was also coming back from an injury. But still, I mean, he's a great player. What I would say at the beginning, I was a little bit of like, I was questioning the contract. I'm like, I didn't really expect the Knicks to give a whole middle level exception to the guy. But then you see, people are looking at this new salary cap, and things start playing out different. People are valuing players differently, and that's why even for that, I thought we had to limit the expense. But then we're seeing Well, Dylan Brooks getting 20
There
mil.
it is.
We see Bruce Brown get 20 something, even though he had a great year, championship and whatnot. But it's like, is he really worth that much? So to put that into perspective, there's a couple of the players that I forget to mention. But you mentioned those contracts, and he's the one that is like, wait a minute. Oh, and Struess is the other one. He got 63 million. Like that was another eye opener. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money for this guy. But yeah, I'm okay with it after seeing those contracts, and I feel like he's gonna play a big role, especially if the way this whole rotation thing is gonna play out. I do sense he's gonna play like anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes, so he's gonna be a big contributor to the team, and part of it is because of the fact that the snake the head of the snake is Jalen Brunson. He's gonna make sure his man is on the court.
Yeah, Omar, I want to ask you a great point around Don Juan. Wanted to ask you, so you bring in Donte DiVincenzo. You already got Quickly, you already got RJ, you already got Grimes. Josh Hart. You see that he's going to play the backup four right now too, but he plays some guard minutes as well. So you got all these guys. You bring in Donte DiVincenzo. He's going to want minutes. So how do you feel about the signing first of all? And do you think like, especially last year, we saw Tibbs. He sat RJ a lot of times for Quickly. As he might say Quickly now for Donte. So it seems like there's a lot going on, Omar. I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
So first things first, the NBA is and always will be a league of relationships, right? And the reason that Donte DiVincenzo is a Knick is because of the other guy that's in your background there, Triple M, is because of Jalen Brunson. And they played together in college, as did Josh Hart, as did Mikal Bridges, but you're talking about a situation here where they're like, hey, Jalen Brunson is our franchise player. He's our centerpiece. We want to get somebody that he's comfortable with that complements him in key situations. So they go and get Donte DiVincenzo. Now, when you look at the reserve unit, again, taking Hartenstein out of it, and you have Quickly, Hart, and DiVincenzo, that is going to be a switch fest on defense. Because they all kind of profile the same way in terms of how they can guard. Obviously Hart could kind of size up a little bit more than the other two, but that is going to create a lot of defensive versatility that I think Tibbs will take advantage of. It kind of felt like the worst kept secret in the NBA that we were going to sign DiVincenzo. Like it was rumored for weeks, and then we were just waiting for it to eventually happen, and it did. And another thing I think about, we were talking about Obi earlier. How many times last year did we see Obi make a back cut trying to get a lob, never got the pass, right? That's not going to happen with DiVincenzo. They're going to be spacing out the floor a little bit more, and they're going to try and get all of these ball screens to get these open threes. So I would expect that the Knicks are going to shoot even more threes than they did this past year.
Wow.
Because they're going to try and free up Donte, free up Quickly. Hart's going to kind of be that guy in the corner sometimes catch and shoot threes that Obi was doing, right? This Hart was doing that already a little bit after the acquisition. But the most important thing is that they're getting a full offseason plan here with Brunson now, with DiVincenzo, with a healthy Randall, with all these guys, full program. And I think it's a positive sign. I do still worry about the backup four from a size perspective, especially, if this is a team that wants to make it back to the playoffs, right? We're not rebuilding right now. We are trying to win a lot of games and make it past the second round. So if you catch a team that is bigger on the back line with their reserve unit, then that poses problems. And you wonder if they're going to try and sign somebody for that, or if they're just going to continue to rely on Jericho Sims. But ultimately, I like the DiVincenzo signing. I think he fits in with what this team identity is right now. He's a tough guy, plays defense, hits shots. That's what Knicks basketball is right now, right? There's filled a bunch of guys who could play defense and hit shots, right? Yeah. Or try to hit shots. We remember the shooting struggles in the playoffs, but yeah, I think it's a hand in glove fit, and I'm happy about it, but I still again have concerns against certain teams about the backup four position.
Yeah, Donte's gonna be fun. He's gonna be that defense. You got me excited when you talked about that defense. I mean, I could just imagine quickly who locks down. We've seen that before.
Mhm.
Donte, very good defender. And then Josh Hart, that's strong up front. That's gonna be real strong up front, man. So I like the move. I like the Donte move. The questions I pose to you though, Omar, the Knicks better be winning games because those questions are gonna get loud,
Yep.
especially like crunch time. Omar, you just mentioned it. Jalen Brunson, he's comfortable with Donte. He's real comfortable with Donte. So does Tibbs close with Donte, Grimes, Brunson, Randall, and Mitch? Like it's
I
gonna
don't
be.
think he's closing with Grimes. I'll just throw that out there. I think eventually DiVincenzo is going to be closing games. Now, I know you're angling it as, are
Clutch
they going to
last
bench
year, bro.
Barrett? Right? Like that's the.
Grimes was clutch last year. Let's not
I
forget.
understand. I'm not. I'm
Grimes
not.
did a
I'm not
lot of
throwing that
clutch stuff.
away. But you got to figure like there's something like I can't imagine them consistently giving RJ the Elfrid Payton treatment in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter.
and then
You
that's
know,
another thing. That's gonna be the biggest question in the room. I
and
mean, because you got RJ, you're paying him RJ, and you're not playing him during closing time. It's gonna get real. That's why I said the Knicks better be winning game, because if not, these questions are just gonna get real loud. Because
but
what if Brunson really
here's a
like?
scenario for you, right? Let's say RJ's having a good game. Let's say Josh Hart is on fire. Okay, and let's say Randall at the same time is having a bad game.
Oh, come
At
on.
that point, do we trust Tibbs to say, listen, Julius, you just don't have it tonight. Josh is going to take care of business real quick here in the last whatever. And I don't think it's going to happen because there's a loyalty there between
Wait,
Julius.
I mean, I think that has to be the biggest. I
let's
mean,
go.
that has to be. I
Zebo,
mean,
give me
that.
a take and talk about Tibbs because you're about to defend my boy.
Yeah, now so real quick on the Dante, I mean, yeah, now great signing. I mean, this is a guy that honestly you can throw him to any of the 30 teams, you can throw him on there. He's gonna play 25, 30 minutes. Because he's that productive. I mean, you guys talk about the fact that he's great off ball. He's also great on ball. I mean, just looking at some of his games with the Warriors, I mean, there were times where he legit has Steph like in awe because he's like, yo, he's literally doing the same moves I'm doing. So he definitely has an underrated bag. Shot 40% from three, great catch and shoot player. Great creating off the dribble. Great at making all the right plays. He was honestly the Warriors' most consistent bench player, and I think he actually kept them afloat during those times when they had issues with Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moody. So this is just a great signing. He's gonna, with our team, with Jalen Brunson there, with Josh Hart. eh, I kept making this joke the whole week, man. But it's literally the New York Wildcats in this. So it's a great signing for us. I mean, he's definitely gonna as far as the 3 pointer. I mean, that's gonna be the biggest difference. And on defense, he's just gonna bring it every single time. So yeah, I have absolutely no complaints. I love the signing. I love the amount of years we get. I love the money that we gave him. The amount of years. I feel like we basically got him as a steal. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, it is good. It is good, but I keep bringing back that closing, and I just wanted to. Omar said, "You think Grimes might sit, but then you
Yeah,
see in these trade
I think
packages
so.
that we've seen rumored, Grimes is the person that they're using in these. So now like you're once again, are you
But
devaluing valuing Grimes?
I mean,
Yeah,
not necessarily. I think the biggest difference between Grimes and DiVincenzo is, like I said before, DiVincenzo is actually a playmaker. Like he can actually go ahead and make plays with the ball in
we
his hands,
see
and that's the issue with
Grimes that
Quentin Grimes. We haven't seen him. We haven't seen him being that playmaker. He is great slashing. He is great. He's a great catch and shoot player. But that's
I
honestly
disagree.
that's all
I
we seen him doing
disagree.
on the offensive
I
end. Like
still
I
think
have not seen him actually create plays for us, and that was honestly the biggest issue for us during the playoffs. Is that other than Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, we didn't have anybody else that can go ahead and play make for us, and Quentin Grimes just wasn't that guy. And that's what Dante DiVincenzo brings for that team. He brings that playmaking ability that we desperately needed.
I think he had the rookie jips, playoff jips, like he wasn't ready for thing. But fellas, Don Juan Omar, I think I've seen Grimes really play make with the ball, make quick decisions with the ball.
He
Like
has the ability It's just it hasn't been on display that often. The real issue with taking Grimes off in late game situations, like he leads the league, I think, in tough matchups defensively. You
Yeah.
know, and so he would always like we play Cleveland. Oh, I'm gonna get Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, one of the two. You know, it's just like he's
And I
always
feel
taking
like
that
the Knicks were
assignment.
losing games in the beginning because it's like I remember DeRozan just hit a shot over him, and it's just like DeRozan just has more height over him, but he's always taking
That's
that.
DeRozan. You know,
That's
Yeah.
DeRozan, and it was a midi.
I think it was Paul George hit a big shot. It was like a few in the beginning of the season. I'm like, man, we just need some height in there, man. We need some height in there. But yeah, I don't see Tibbs sitting grounds, fellas. Even
you
in
would
the
hope
playoffs,
he
the
would
Jimmy
pick the
Butler,
hot
series,
hand,
the
right? That's what
Jimmy
you
Butler,
hope.
yeah.
That's what you
I
hope.
don't know, man. Tibbs. Oh, let's not go down the rabbit hole. I'm gonna
Yeah,
stop myself
keep moving.
right here before we go down the Tibbs rabbit hole. Man, we've been chopping it up about a lot. We still got some things to talk about, fella. So, just quickly, let's go a little more rapid fire. If this is the team right now, I know Zebo and Don Juan were fine running it back. Basically, what we're doing. So, Omar,
Yeah.
I want to give you a take. If this is the team right here, man, real quick, tell me, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about this team right now?
I think that another year of the main three guys playing together can't be a bad thing. And I think they're going to still be a consistent team. Do I think they take another step up? No, the East has gotten pretty good. The East is still pretty good. And if there's a couple more trades in the offing, it could still be even better. I think they're a 4 to 6 seed type team, you know, and I think they're good enough to stay out of the play in, not good enough to be a top 3 seed. And, but I'm fine with them running it back. You know, I feel like maybe more so than other Knicks fans. I have a little bit more patience with it because I remember how bad the bad got. You know,
Okay.
winning
Thank
17
you.
games and all
Thank
that.
you.
All right,
Like,
Zebo.
and I get it. Triple M, you give me the look. I know you want to win a championship. You know, don't be content for mediocre. But you really think about it, we were.
Oh yeah.
I feel maybe Miami's giving me false hope that they're, you could just get on a run and, make some shit happen. But I feel like we hit a few more shots. That's us in the conference final, and not saying we win the conference final. I'm saying that's us in the conference final,
Yeah.
and
And
what's up?
injuries, the injuries too. No
Yeah.
injuries. We go with a clean slate. I feel like we could definitely make a run at the conference final.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if this is the team for me personally, if this is the team right now, we better hit the ground running because you see these teams, everybody is they're gonna take some time to adjust. If Miami gets Dame, they're gonna have some time to adjust, or Philly looks like they're gonna lose Harden or they gotta repair the Harden relationship. Uh, Boston made a huge move trading their point guard for KP. So a lot of teams they made changes. They need time to adjust. So if the Knicks really, if this is their squad, we have the camaraderie. We're adding DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson's best friend. So he just fits Knicks culture. Everybody looks lit over here. He just fits the Knicks culture, what they want, what they do. Hard nosed, rebounded. You guys all mentioned that. So if this is the squad, we better hit the ground running. We better start off red hot. October, November, December. I gotta get Zebo start next because he has to disagree, and it
I
is
think
until,
you know what it is, bro. I think you forgetting those times when we was winning 17 games and you was standing in front of the garden, bro, like
oh, okay, but
like
we not talking.
struggling to get them tickets, bro. I
We
don't
not.
want to go back. I don't want to go back to those times where we were making
But how are we
impatient
gonna go back to
moves.
those times? How are we gonna go back to those
But
times?
that's what I'm saying. But you're making it seem like, man, I feel like you're talking right now. You're making it seem like if we run it back, it's like a
It's a
It's
disaster.
it's a struggle for you to say like, damn, like
no,
all right,
it
like
is
I'm good
no,
with it.
it's
You
not
like, oh, now we have to make sure we start off good.
bro.
I'm like, man, like yo, chill. Like if we run it back with the same team, I agree with Omar 100%. Like, listen, give me the 4/5 seed. I'm honestly fine with it. Like, listen, I've been a Knicks fan since literally I could remember Antonio McDyess days where we're making impatient moves with injured players, and the seasons just were a drag. We knew that it was going to be a struggle, and so going into a season with the same team, knowing that this is a playoff team, like again, we might not be a finals team, but knowing that my team is going to be good, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, man. I feel like Knicks fans are just too greedy, man. Like,
All right.
can we just have a few good seasons with the same team? Can we just be consistent first?
I'm gonna clip this video right here, and if we start off, I
Man,
hope we don't start off bad. But if we do, because bro, if the Knicks don't start off hot, these questions are gonna become louder, and what I'm trying to get you to realize. These who's closing out game? Why are the Knicks 10-10 to start the season? You remember, I'm about to look at the episode when we recorded last year when we started off 11-13. Tibbs was already on the hot seat. We heard those reports that Tibbs was on the hot seat. We heard trades the galore. Was Jalen Brunson really a bust? Even though he was performing, it was still like we started off bad. We started off bad. So that's why I'm like, we got to hit the ground running because when these teams figure it out, we already have a head start on them. And that's what I'm talking about. And how are we going to go back to those 17 teams? Bro, the foundation is built. It's built. We got
But the
Jalen
way
Brunson.
you talk, but I'm saying though, because it seems like being patient is an issue for Knicks fans,
It
which
is.
is the
It's
most
been
like
50
you
years,
see.
bro. It's been 50 years since they won a championship, and we're in New York City. There's no patience. There is no patience.
But I feel like what was the reason that we had those really bad Knicks seasons? It's because we got extremely impatient, taking
We
risks
have
on
to have a
players that we
different
should have
show.
never taken off. Listen, we're gonna go into this topic later on, but listen, we made extremely impatient moves on players that we should have never made a move on in the first place. And so that's what I just don't. That's my fear. I just don't want to get back to those times. Like if this is what if these are good times, like these are good times for me. I'm not like listen, I'm not complaining. Like I'm good right now. So keep me there. That's all I'm saying.
Debo, he's a patient guy. You gotta love his patience. He was a patient dude.
Yo, if this
We're in
listen, if
New York.
patient gives me the playoffs, gives
We're in
me
New York.
gives me gives me a first round win, and gives me to the second Eastern Conference Finals, I'm good with it.
I
I'm
can't wait.
straight.
I'm gonna look at those old videos for Zebo. I'm gonna
All
look.
right.
I'll look at it because I don't know if Zebo was really feeling like that. Don Juan, what you gotta say about
Well,
this? Here? You've been
I,
preaching
I
running it
I
back.
hinted a little bit at it. I felt like I think this is a team that we could roll with, but more because I just don't like the players right now. But I'm confident with this team. One being that, like I mentioned earlier, this team last year we were one of the best teams at the second half teams after we got Josh Hart. So the fact that just that little bit of change is the same players. Essentially, Obi's the only one now replacing with Donte DiVincenzo, who addresses some needs. So knowing that, obviously it's a small marginal move, but we made it pretty far in the playoffs with the same team. Maybe the argument you could say is, yeah, but you guys face this team, you guys face that team. Yeah, but that's the teams are going to unfold how they unfold. We're not playing for seeds. We're playing for seeds, obviously the higher seeds, but we're not looking for the matchup. The matchups played out how they were supposed to be. But Omar said, he said it earlier, we could have easily been in the Eastern Conference Finals had we made a couple shots, but also the injuries. If guys don't get hurt, I mean, I was saying we beat the Heat even with the injuries, but he went to the finals and whatnot. It happens. But mentioning the Heat, they've been building that thing for some while, about for some years now. The Nuggets, who just won the championship, been building that team for a year now. Like we can't panic and just try to, skin the team out because then we end up on some Carmelo Anthony dishing out everything, and then we got nothing to
Like
make
you
the
want to be
next
the
move.
Clippers,
But
like
and then that
that's
too. Look at that.
Come on.
Well, and we could potentially even make a trade with the Clippers, but that's another day. Let's see how that
that's
unfolds.
another topic.
But like these
That's what
teams,
Triple M want right now. That's what Triple M really want
hey,
right
and
now.
Oh, you on the
and
I'm on
PG
board
train?
here. I'm, I'm on the PG trade. I'm on that.
He
so
saw that
you
Julius
guys
Randle
want to hit
interview. He
that?
got excited.
Yeah, exactly. I saw him dribbling
Well,
in the beach. I feel like he's ready.
Yeah.
it's possible, and you get him on a team with his boy Randall. Things he might want to play.
He
He
was
might give a little
pleading for
more.
help. He was pleading for help on the. He was like, "Yo, when I'm the number 2 guy, the number 3 guy is different." He was telling that to PG, man. He wants me.
That's a fact, man. But we got the foundation here. I feel like we got to
We
continue
do.
building. I
We
know
do.
Triple M mentioned we got to take advantage of Jalen Brunson's contract, and I think that's something that we should have in the back of our mind when thinking about the next move. But they have their eyes on a certain player, maybe 2 or 3. But I do think that those players are just not. They're not either gonna get traded or they're just not at the price that our front office is willing to give up.
Yeah, no, they
That
don't.
Paul George offer went out. It was RJ Grimes. I forget who the third guy was. Oh, Fortier and 3 first-round picks. Like, honestly, that's a little bit too much. That was the price
Yeah,
that
that's
the
deep.
Clippers put
That's
out.
deep.
So it's like, come on
That's
now, like we could. There's obviously interest in him. There's an offer that's rumored that the Knicks gave in Grimes, OB, Fournier, and first-round picks. That makes a little more sense. But when you're talking about RJ now, it's like, all right, hold up. It's either RJ or Grimes, not both. So it's like
We're
there's
not.
definitely some posturing, but they're targeting this one player. So there has to be some interest in said player. Now, what's the situation? They're just waiting for it to unfold. That Clipper team, I mean, they've had 3 years of maybe 20, 30 games that they've had a healthy team. There's been 3 years already, maybe even 4. I'm not sure. I think it's 3 years though.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That said player is his name rhymes with Foel Lembeed. That's the guy. That they waiting for. It's just thinking about it. That's the man that
Hold
they
on, what is it rhyme? What is it rhyme with? What is it rhyme with?
Formel Lembeed. That's the guy. That's the guy. You know, I don't want. That's the guy that they waited for. That's for sure,
And
man.
that's
Oh.
another Julius guy, man. It looks like it sounds like these guys are just building around Julius and Brunson. Honestly, they're getting all their guys, or they're targeting all those guys.
We just all our target audience just left right now. They said, "Get out, we're out of here." Hit the
That's all right. That's all right.
True.
Y'all can go. Yeah, that's all right. Y'all can go. It's cool. It's cool.
Steve only wants positive. He wants our guy Rafa still here. He's still rocking with us, man. Shout out to Worldwide Knicks. He's a positive guy. Sometimes the man be losing me sometimes. He be going off the rails. But shout out to my guy. I always got to give a shout out to my guy Rafa. Every show, that's my boy. But yeah, let's kick it around the NBA, fellas. There's a lot going on besides Knicks talk. James Harden, he's in the rumor mill. He axed out. Damian Lillard, he axed out of here. There's a lot of teams, fringe NBA teams. What are they gonna do? So the rumor mill is hot in the NBA. This is what they want, man. This is what they want. They want the drama. Now they make an in-season tournament. We got to see the details on that coming out on this weekend. So it's a lot of drama. So I want you guys to all pick up a topic, and I'm gonna start with you, Omar. What you thinking here? As the NBA is in full novela mode right now.
I want to talk about Dame, man. And so, shameless plug. A couple weeks ago, I wrote a piece for Off the Ball Network about
Hey,
Dame.
man, that's not a shameless. Let him know. Let him know.
Let him know. So, like, and there's like this culture thing in basketball fandom where we love people that are loyal. Like, we killed LeBron when he left for Miami. But for years, we praised Dirk Nowitzki. We praised these guys who stay with that Kobe, who stay with that one team for their entire career. And it seemed like for a while, Dame Lillard was on that track until it's no longer good enough. They're like, well, he's never been to a final. He doesn't have a ring. Are you just going to decay in Portland for the rest of your career? What a waste of a top 75 talent, right? That's what everybody says. So they wanted him to make the trade request. So what does he do? He makes a trade request, right? And now he's kind of really flopped his perception from being this like super likable guy that everybody like loves Dame, everybody like respects Dame and what he's doing. And now like the reporting is out, oh, he only wants to be traded to Miami. If he goes traded to anybody else, then it's going to be a problem. You're going to have a player that is going to be annoyed and everything. And I'm just like, first of all, you don't have a no trade clause. Second of all, you signed that deal. Third of all, you have many years left on that deal. And it's a big contract. It's that homegrown supermax, which is like insane, right? Even by the current salary cap standards, it's still high.
You're gonna make $63 million.
Yeah. So, and to say you only want to be traded to Miami, the team that was just in the NBA Finals, it's a little KD-ish, And I just feel like this whole thing is like, and you have all these like commentators, right? I was listening to Zach Lowe's podcast earlier today. They were talking about the package of like 2 firsts, Jovic, Tyler Hero, maybe. And they said maybe Tyler Hero, not even needed, and like some other salary. Oh, that's a fair offer. Like, in what universe, And then they're talking about what Boston had to give up. Like, yeah, Robert Williams, Derek White, 3 firsts, 3 pick swaps. And I was like, what universe why are we propping up and carrying water for the Miami Heat so much? Like, is it a great fit? Yes. Him and Jimmy and Bam on paper is a great fit. And it's just annoying. It's just like I'm all about player empowerment, all about player movement, but
So
you're
Omar, real quick before you
yeah,
finish, I wanted to ask you,
yeah.
what would you have done? What would you have done in that situation? And Dame, let's say you Dame shoe, getting paid $63 million. Thank you for being on the show, giving us some time. But what you would have done if you was in his shoes?
I would not have doubled down on loyalty. That's what I wouldn't have done.
Okay, that's
Because
it.
that's what he did. It's like, imagine you're just over there saying, say, like in cars, you're just over and over and over saying, American cars are the best. I'll only drive American. I want to stay driving my American car. And then one day, maybe your Ford or your Chrysler, whatever, starts breaking down. And you're like, you know what, man, fuck it. Let me get a Mercedes, and whatever. And it's just kind of like, he went so off the deep end on the loyalty thing.
Yeah.
And that became his brand in a way, right? And then he asks out, and it's not just. And at first, the reporting was, "I just want to go somewhere I have a chance." Okay, so if you go to like Brooklyn, that would be that situation, right? Because you pair yourself with Bridges, you're good, but you're not great, But you have a chance to be in the playoffs and make some things happen. You go to Miami, and you have a team that has 2 all-star players already. You'd be the third. And it's a team that was just in the NBA Finals. It just goes completely the other way. Now, that could all be just rumors and all that. And the biggest thing about it, Portland is under no obligation to trade him to Miami. People are like, well, you don't want the next guy in free agency not to want to go. Who the fuck wants to go play for the Blazers? Nobody. Jeremy Grant, that's who. Like literally. They're not a free agent destination. They're developing through the draft. They're hoping that Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson and Chris Murray are going to be this great threesome for the next decade, and maybe they'll get lucky, strike gold, and get to an NBA final. That's what Portland's hoping for. They're not a free agent destination, so why should Joe Cronin even care if he got a player mad, like a star player mad? And because what is he worried that when that Bam Adebayo free agency is coming up, he's not going to have a chance to sign him? Man wants to go to Portland anyway. let's stop that. So I'm already over the whole Dame thing. I know it's going to go on all summer because that's how this stuff always goes with star players. And Dame's still a great player. Like earlier in the season, he was getting some MVP noise because he was really playing well, and he still has it. Defensive liability, of course. I know some people talk about him going to Chicago, and I think that's a great fit if you are able to package LaVine and send him off to Portland. Does Portland want LaVine? That's another question. So, but yeah, this is going to be the saga that goes on all summer, just like it was when all the big trades happened, when the AD trade was going to happen and all that stuff. So
don't remind me the Donovan Mitchell summer
Donovan Mitchell summer, right? And here's the thing, like he wanted to be in New York, allegedly, whatever. And he's in Cleveland now. He's fine, for now, right? But so
for now.
I would laugh if like Portland says, you know what, I'm tired of this. Fuck you. Go to fucking Utah. And we'll take some pieces from Utah. They have 500 million draft picks from that Minnesota deal, worst trade in NBA history. Or for Minnesota anyway. So greatest deal for the Utah Jazz.
I can't wait to see where Dame goes. But you're right, man. He overplayed that loyalty thing. Everybody tried to leave. Kobe tried to leave. There was rumors that Dirk was about to be out the door. Like, and they was just he was dragging it. He was just like, oh yeah, they're gonna try to win. And then this team, they draft Shaden Sharp, the mystery man, in last year's draft. Nobody even seen him play since high school tape. They go draft him. He's like, yeah, they're trying to win. Come on, brother. They clearly not trying to win. And now he was gonna play that again this year. And they drafted Scoot Henderson. They could have got a nice piece for Scoot Henderson. They decided not to. So yeah, Dame, I agree with you 100%. He OD overplayed his hand. But let's see what happens this summer, and it'll be hilarious if he ends up in Utah, right there. But Zebo, what's a summertime rumor that's out?
So I'm really monitoring this Rockets situation. With Fred VanVleet. I mean the Raptors. I'm sorry, Toronto Raptors. No. The Rockets are. I don't know what they're doing right now. They just spending money. Yeah, they just spending money just to spend money. But I'm really watching the Raptors situation because with Fred VanVleet gone, I think they're starting to pivot into a direction where I think they really want to develop their young guys. So Scotty Barnes, Obviously, OG, he did go ahead and sign with CAA. So I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not that big of an OG fan. I think Quentin Grimes can develop into an OG Anunoby at some point. So I'm not really that high on him. I don't think he's that again, he's really good. He's really elite on defense. He's an okay shooter. On offense, he doesn't necessarily bring it. But the person I'm really eyeing is my boy Spicy P, is Siakam, because that's an interesting person for him, to be in the trade, for him to be in a trade block, because he is in the last year of his deal. He is a person that was the second best player on the championship team. He's been an All NBA person. He's been an All Star. He is healthy. I know a lot of us keep talking about Paul George, and obviously I'm not. Paul George is obviously better. Skill set wise, he's better than Siakam. But I mean, Siakam can really hold his own, and so that is a person I am eyeing on. And if the Knicks are, if they're eyeing the Raptor situation and they're looking at Siakam, I wouldn't be. Listen, man, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I honestly would not be opposed to
You're
it.
trying to trade your boy Randall for Siakam.
No, I'm trying to trade my boy RJ for Siakam.
RJ.
Listen, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to trade RJ because listen,
how do
if
you
there was
feel
one
about
thing, if there was one thing
Siakam?
we learned this
He's a
playoffs, bro,
forward.
but he can. But listen, he can ball handle. He can play late. He can play make way better than RJ. And listen,
Oh
if there's one thing, because I know
my
we spoke about or earlier about these defensive rotations, about putting four guards over there. I mean, if there's one thing that we did learn these playoffs is that you need some big athletic wings. I mean, to have Jokic, to have Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, essentially be your four, if your 5, 4, and 3. That's, I mean, again, that gave fits to Jimmy Butler, and so imagine a lineup with Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and Pascal Siakam. That's a
I don't see
first
it.
of first of all, he's a great playmaker, and so I think him and Julius Randle can play well off each other, and with having Jalen Brunson there, that would actually be really enticing to me. So I don't know how you feel about Siakam, but that's someone I'm eyeing to see what's gonna happen with him.
Omar, talk to your fellow Randall Stan and
Tell me what you think,
tell
Omar.
him
Come
that
on.
Siakam is a 4. He's slow. He can't be out there in
No,
the
I
world,
don't know about that.
guys. What is? He's be an upgrade over Randall. That's what Omar. Talk to your
No.
My issue with the Siakam deal is where does that elevate you to, right? Like,
I think that's an Eastern. I think that's a. I think we're looking
as a
at the
conference
Eastern
final
Conference
team.
final. I think we're top. I think we're a top 3 team. If you put Siakam here with Randall with Brunson, I think that's a. But again, that's depending on what's going to be the trade package, because we're not dealing with, again, Masai Ujiri is one of the best GMs. So again, it depends on what we do get back and depending on what direction they are going. But honestly, that's a top 3 team in the East, like on paper. For me,
I don't know. I don't know how Zebo thinks Siakam could play the 3, but we're just gonna leave it at that. Nobody gonna be able to shoot. It's gonna be
Well, real
shot better
quick
than
about
better.
the Raptors, though, like, what are they doing? Is my question.
they're
Because
doing the Damian Lillard right now. They're
I
over.
think
like,
I think they want to build over. I think they want to. I think they're built. I think they want to go young. I think they want to keep Scotty Barnes, obviously,
right.
because they had a chance to trade him. I think, was it for Kevin Durant or someone similar? So,
Yeah.
they had the opportunity. They didn't want to. So I think they're going to pivot towards that. So that's why I think OG is going to stay, because he is young enough. So, I think they want to keep a young core. So I'm assuming that, Siakam is probably going to be the odd man out, and so I think they're going to pivot more into a younger, just to have younger bodies there.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to trade him because they basically had the opportunity to trade Van Vliet at the deadline, chose
Right.
not to, got nothing back for him,
Mhm.
and now he's in Houston, about to chuck 30 shots a game,
Right.
and
That happened
so
with Kyle Lowry too. It just I feel like there's a Damian Lillard team version. Is the Toronto Raptors? They're just overplaying this like, oh, we're gonna keep it. These guys are gonna figure it out, and then these guys just leave. They like the Van Fleet and OG. He has a player option next year, so he might be
Yeah,
out of there.
that's been a
So
funny situation. Masai been sitting on his hands for 2 years now, not
yeah,
knowing what
Mhm.
the hell's going
and he
on.
gets praised to be this good GM. He hasn't made any moves in a few. You know what I mean?
Literally.
he's coasting off the Kawhi deal, right? Like that's, I mean, understandably so, won the title for him,
Yeah,
Right.
so
you can't
you
win.
can't fault that. So he's
You
probably
can't.
got a little bit of equity there.
A lot of equity. He's chilling.
Right.
Right. He's chilling right now. I remember the
How do
Knicks.
you, real quick though? How do you feel? How do you feel about Siakam?
Look, he froze because he knows he can't play the game. He tried to be nice, bro. He tried to be nice to you. He actually froze.
No, I don't know, man. I'm not really in on a Siakam deal, to be honest.
Right,
I
there
see.
you go.
I'm not full triple M on it, where I think it's like the worst trade of all time.
I
But I think like there is something to be said about Siakam not being the 1 or 2, like him being a 3.
Right.
You know, the third option, he could be very successful in that. It ultimately comes down to, because you would imagine RJ's a part of that deal, and
Right.
you know, and so it depends on how high you are in RJ. If you think RJ has more room to grow, then you don't want to do the deal. If you think RJ's ass, then you want to do the deal. That's basically what it comes down to.
right there. That's it is. That's what it is. But Don Juan has the NBA rumor mills in full swing right now. What's caught your eyes?
This James Harden situation out in Philly, man. This James Harden situation, it took a little bit of a pause recently because now apparently Philly is saying they're willing to just play out the season and try to, sweet talk him and see if he ultimately signs a contract extension. Although I don't think he's eligible for a contract extension. And I need to fact check that. But, he wants to leave. He already said he wants to leave. There's been connections to the Clippers and whatnot. So that move could ultimately be the first domino to set off, Joel Embiid. And he might, and this has been a lot of connections, whether it's CAA, Julius Randle being friends with Joel Embiid, or just going another situation that's just missing that big name player. And New York is pretty much that right now as we speak. And we got the pieces to trade for him. So realistically, one thing that could change that is the Dame thing. So it's like it still all connects somehow too. Dame could ultimately end up getting traded. Could be a three team deal where Harden goes to the Clippers and Dame goes to the Sixers. So the Sixers are in a tricky situation because they could easily be number 3 or they could easily be number, who knows? It might not be the last place team, but it might be even playing team. Depending on what happens, because if they're not winning games, and let's say they do have to trade James Harden, it's going to be Maxey and whatever salary fillers the Clippers are going to give back. Was that Marcus Morris, Powell, Norman Powell? I mean, we could talk about it and say, well, these are all shooters with Tobias Harris, with Maxey. I mean, that's the perfect, complementary players for a guy like Joel Embiid, right? But I mean, those guys are all average. Besides Maxey, those guys are all capped out and are pretty much
the clock
towards the
is
back end of their
ticking
career,
on Philly,
And
man.
Joel Embiid, at the end of the day, wants to play with the best of the best. He had his moment where he had Jimmy Butler, and he saw how far they made it. He wants to get back to that situation. He just got his MVP. Right now, he really needs a championship to solidify his legacy. He's been a great player, but I feel like the injury stuff been such a dark cloud throughout his career that he's been slowly overcoming it. But there's always a few games that he's missing out, whether it's a monitor situation or actual injury. But I'm really looking at that spot because he is the only guy I feel like that's closest to being in our hands because of the mutual interest in both sides, and because it seems like that team is gonna implode. It just the clock is ticking, and James Harden is gonna be the trickle effect to start that situation.
Yeah, we're just waiting for one domino for Harden or Lillard, and it's just gonna open the floodgates. Maybe Toronto trades us Siakam to the Knicks. You don't know, that could be cooking up. There's just too many big names holding up everything, and you just hope it doesn't drag on. This Harden thing, this Dame thing, and it's just gonna let the East. Is big on the East. It affects the Knicks directly. These teams you talked about, whether it's Toronto, who's in the same division as the Knicks, whether it's the Heat, who the Knicks just lost to in the second round, or it's the Sixers, another divisional team. So all these pieces need to be finalized, figured it out, so we can really lock in and kind of see. So you hope these next time we chop it up, these questions are answered. But right now we got our boy right here, Donte DiVincenzo, and shout out to y'all. This is We going on the longest Knicks fans Wildin' show in history, but we just had so much to talk about. We still didn't even cover everything, but it was great.
Are you not going to talk about Paul George?
Yeah, that's
No?
it. We gotta get up out of here, man. We talk about Paul George on the next one.
There you go.
Omar, man, I think we say this all the time. Omar does such amazing work for off the ball and is a big time contributor to the show. He's always down. He just be like, "Yo, Triple M, y'all need me. Y'all need me. I'm in this." So shout out to you, bro. Thank you for real, because you give great takes and very precise and open invite. Always down to go. So just say what you're doing, what you cooking up lately, and to get up out of here.
Yeah, man. Appreciate, first of all, you guys allowing me to be here. Yeah, I love talking to you guys. Like I said, I'm sixth man here. I'm Emmanuel Quickly of the show. But yeah, you could catch me on Twitter. You see my handle right there at OmarZHRN. You catch all my written work on Off the Ball Network. Currently working on a piece about bringing a NBA franchise back to Seattle. So that should be out later this weekend. Just posted a piece about Derrick Rose, who is now a member of the Memphis Grizzlies. You can also catch my next podcast. We're a little bit of a hiatus right now in the off season, Worldwide Knicks with Rafa and Alex. So check us out on YouTube and Spotify as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure to catch out the guys, Alex and Rafa, at the Worldwide Knicks and Zebo. Get us out of here. You was spicy with it today, man.
Yeah, man, I had to, man. Listen, man, thank y'all for the support, man, and keep engaging with us on the IG page, man. Shout out to Don Juan, bro. He always posting heat on the IG page, and we do love the engagement with the fans, man. So keep on engaging with us on the IG, man. Yeah, man, always posting heat, man. Shout out Don Juan. So yeah, man, keep engaging with us, keep showing love, and yeah, man, just gonna keep on posting heat, man, this summer.
Yeah, man, we on the threads now. We on the threads right now with it.
So, new world, man, new age, new time, man. We on the threads now. We on IG, though, like Zebo said. Make sure to follow us on Twitter as well. Subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate new subscribers. To those that been listening, man, we appreciate you for being with us this far along in this journey, man. This Knicks fandom, man. Y'all been seeing us cry a little bit, experience some sadness, but look at us now rejoicing and we're complaining about success now. That's how crazy it is. This is it's wild in Knicks fandom, but man, we appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you for being with us here, man. It's also the summer. Y'all could be chilling outside, exploding some firecrackers or whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of things to do in the summer.
They listening to us talk about it.
Exactly.
Thank you and appreciate y'all. Make sure to check our guys out in Off the Ball Network too, man. It's other sports out here that's going on too, and it's not just basketball. There's also baseball going on. Even though the Yankees, we talk about them too much, but hopefully they figure it out, man. But stay safe, man. It's Knicks fans wilding. Triple M, take it over.
Yeah, man. Summertime. We out here chilling with it. Look, Zebo had to check me sometimes. I think Omar. Look, I'm not upset. But I am still like, yo, what's going on, man? I need to see these Bulls. I don't want to start off 11-13 again next year. Trying to see. So I still have questions, but listen, I'm happy with the squad. We got Jalen Brunson. I miss Jalen. I just miss watching Jalen Brunson hoop right now, bro. At this point of the summer, and we're about to see him in the Olympics, man. Shout out to Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. They're going to the USA Olympic team. So listen, I'm good right now. I'm feeling all right. I just need the Knicks to do their thing right now. Give me some clarity. Are we really staying packed? Or are we just chilling right now? So
Triple M waiting for that bowl signing, man. That's what he's
waiting. He waiting for signing. I don't know what he waiting for.
That Trenton Watford, that who's the power forward of Villanova? Eric Pascal.
I'm surprised we haven't heard
some respect on my man's name.
New York Zone too, another New York born,
That's true.
We got the New York Wildcats. Zebo said it earlier. So sign Eric Pascal, and I'm good for the off season. Let's get out of here, man. Thank y'all for watching. You already know the vibe, man.